Uganda will not be falling for. We left church, but we didn't leave God. Okay, so this is with no judgment whatsoever, because I've been there where I've been hurt by the church, and I had to look for a genuine church again. And it was really frustrating, by the way, till I got to a point of asking God, is it a must? Ni must kweli? But as long as you're a Christian and a follower, basically a follower of Christ, because that's the same thing, it is necessary to be going to church. Okay. Verses in the Bible where Jesus is talking, he talks as if we should be going to church. Paul speaks as though we should be going to church. You should Google those verses that talk about, where church is mentioned, where Jesus is talking about church, or Paul. They talk as if we should be going to church. These verses in Revelation, Jesus speaks as though we should be going to church. There's also this verse, Ephesians chapter 4 verse 11. I like giving this verse to people so much. The one that talks about the fivefold. I've given you the apostles, the prophets, the pastors, evangelists, and teachers, for the equipping of saints, for our equipping. So these people, they've been given some kind of revelation that maybe you do not have yet. There are things that God will reveal to you through them. Hata hii kuwekelewa mikono that we hate so much, of which, yes, you should be careful about who does that, on you or to you. Because you should still be using your gift of discernment to know what kind of spirit is operating behind a person, behind a song, a movie, or these churches, basically that. But it is necessary. They do have a calling. Do you remember the story with the story about Paul when he was coming from persecuting Christians, and then along the way he has an encounter with God, and then he's blinded, and then while he's having, he's blinded, he becomes blind, and God is right there. God is the healer. The healing comes from him. Ata ombewe na another man of God, whoever, the healing will still come from God. But then he does what? He sends him to another man, enda wekelewa mikono. He sends him to a man, and then he places him under that man, to learn under that man, to learn under him, to submit to him, and learn under him. You get him, where him. Okay, so basically, Paul even says we do have many spiritual mentors and one spiritual father. So that was his spiritual father, basically. And you do have many mentors. That's the men of God that you listen to. You say this man teaches really well. When you're chilling at home, because between Monday and Saturday, you still need to be praying and listening to the word, to preachings, to teachings, and reading the word, as much as you go to church on Sundays. Okay, so these people, the fivefold, the pastors, apostles, prophets, evangelists, and teachers, they will not come knocking at your door. Every Sunday they have to come knocking at your door to teach you, to preach to you, to reveal something to you. No, they won't. You will have to go to church where the rest of the people are, the rest of the gathering is, because it is also encouraged to gather together in Hebrews chapter 10 verse 25, which is another verse that helps me basically what I'm saying. Hebrews chapter 10 verse 25, the one that talks about not forsaking the gathering. I get you can gather with your friends, with your prayer partners, once in a while, to pray, to teach, but you do need the guidance of a man who's been called to do that, the ones mentioned in Ephesians chapter 4 verse 11. To have a gathering that you meet up with every Sunday. They give support, they give moral support a lot. It's a family, a Christ-centered family. You'll find, I'm not saying you won't find weird people there. You also find people with addictions there. That is literally why they're there. When I first went back to church, going back because I was raised in a staunch Christian household, and then along the way kind of backslided, and I went back there because I was too broken. In fact, I was heartbroken. That's why I went back to church. It was so painful. So I had to go back to church, and at that time I had my own issues. the way I looked, the way I was speaking, everything I was doing, you couldn't exactly tell that's a Christian girl, that's God-fearing girl. As much as we shouldn't be judging, because judging someone from the way they look, sometimes as you keep growing, your relationship with Christ, it's supposed to reflect that. Your appearance, the way you talk, the way you dress, the way you think, the way you act, it's supposed to reflect that. The Bible says you will know them by their fruits. So as time goes by, obviously there are things about you that are going to change. But first, when you go there, you will meet broken people. You meet people with addictions. You meet someone with anger issues mwenye bado hajajua kuzicontrol, is still praying about that. You meet people who gossip so much because everyone there they have their shortcomings. They have their shortcomings there. So basically you meet all these people, but if you're all going there for them, you'll be frustrated. You're only going there for God. There's this analogy that someone told me once. I don't remember. I think I saw it online, where this guy used to go to church, and then when he's in church, he would look around and see people using their phones, others are talking, whispering, and doing all sorts of things during preaching, during worship. Now he's like worshiping or praising well, some are just standing there, and then he just got frustrated and he was like, yeah, I'm leaving this church. So the person he was talking to asked him, take this glass of water, fill it to the brim, and then walk around this room with it. Make sure not even a drop falls. Okay, so it's full to the brim, so he has to pay extra attention to it. He cannot look around. He cannot afford to look around or pay attention to other things. He only has to pay attention to that glass of water. So he walks around and he's only looking at it to make sure nothing pours. And then he ends up sitting down again and he's like, did you notice anything around you, your surroundings or whatever is going on? And it's like, no. And why? Because I was paying attention to this class. This is what I was trying to my attention was here basically. It's like, so when you're going to church, let your attention be on Jesus, because everything around you at that time doesn't matter. You didn't go there for them. These people will be around you when you're at work. These people will be around you when you're just strolling around. These people will be around you in events. These people will be around you basically everywhere. So why does it matter right now when they're around you in church? It is not a place for perfect people. It is where we go to be made perfect in Jesus here, but we are not perfect. It is not a place of perfect people where if you don't see perfect people there, you run, but everywhere else you're okay with it. Okay, so if you go there and your attention is fully on Jesus, as long as it's a genuine church, you will thrive, you will grow. You'll wake up one day and you're like, oh, I haven't done that thing that I've been doing for such a long time and I've been trying to get rid of it. Some kind of addiction that you used to have, and suddenly you just wake up one day and you're like, oh wow, I even forgot I used to do that. Okay. As you grow, as long as you're being genuine in your relationship with Jesus, and as long as you're not getting fed spiritually only on Sundays, you're also doing the work too, and you also have people like mentors. You have mentors. You will have mentors in different aspects of your life, different stages. Like when you get married, you have someone. You might go to a certain elder who's married, but it's not like you would go for advice from someone who isn't married, you get. So you have different mentors for different things and different aspects and stages of your life, and you also have prayer partners. You can even meet up and pray together, but you also do need to have a spiritual father. A spiritual father is the man of God who's leading the church that you go to. Be planted in one church. A plant that is not grounded in one place cannot grow. You keep uprooting it, planting it somewhere else, it cannot grow. Be rooted under one person. Okay, look up these verses that talk about churches in the Bible. Understand why it's necessary, but just know it is necessary, and then pray about it. I hope that helps.